Hi, boys and girls. We are going to be reading Chapter 10 called Overcoming Disabilities Part 2, and you're going to learn about some really important people in this area. And you're going to need Activity Book page 13.2. So make sure you have that out because I'll be stopping along the way for you to find answers in the text, just like we've been doing with different chapters and like we did on our meet on Wednesday. So 13.3 should be open in front of you. And question number 1 says, when did Ray Charles become blind? So this answer is going to be found on page 78, and I'm going to read that page to you right now, and I want you to listen for the answer and then pause the video to write down the answer in a complete sentence. Complete sentence, please. People with disabilities face extra challenges in life. However, these disabilities don't keep determined people from doing amazing things. This is a painting of musician Ray Charles, right there on page 79. Ray Charles went blind when he was 7 years old. He couldn't see, but there was nothing wrong with his ears. He loved music and decided to become a musician. He learned to sing and play the piano. Eventually, he became one of the most popular musicians of his day. Ray Charles won 10 Grammy Awards and made millions of dollars as a singer. He did not let his disability hold him back. So you should be able to answer question number 1. You can also answer question number 2, which says, which sentence from the selection tells you about the success of Ray Charles? Now, the key word in there is what tells you about the success of Ray Charles, because all of these sentences are from the text, but which one tells us about how successful he was? Ray Charles won 10 Grammy Awards and made millions of dollars as a singer. That's letter A. Letter B, he couldn't see, but there was nothing wrong with his ears. Letter C, Ray Charles went blind when he was 7 years old. Or D, he loved music and decided to become a musician. We're going to continue on, and the answer to number 3, why did Helen Keller have terrible temper tantrums, can be found on page 80. This next image shows a girl named Helen Keller. Right there she is as a child. Helen Keller lost both her sight and her hearing from a serious illness when she was just 19 months old. So that's about 1 year and a half. She was deaf and blind for the rest of her life. As a young girl, Helen Keller could not hear or speak. She learned to communicate a few ideas by making gestures. When she wanted her mother, she would grab and pull her mother to her. When she wanted to be alone, she would push her mom away. She could nod her head to say yes or shake it to say no. When she wanted toast, she would make a gesture as if she was spreading butter on bread. There were a few ideas she could communicate, yet there were many things she could not get across with gestures. As a child, she would often try to communicate and fail. Then she would get angry and cry. Sometimes she would have terrible temper tantrums. She wanted more than anything to communicate with people. She was not able to do so. Go ahead and answer question number 3. And you can also answer question number 4. What does the word communicate mean in this sentence? So take a moment, answer that question. Helen's parents were worried about her. They did not know how to help her communicate. Since she was deaf and blind, she could not attend school. So her parents searched and found a special teacher who came to live with them. The teacher's name was Annie Sullivan. Annie Sullivan wanted to teach Helen to understand words, but how can you understand words if you can't hear them? Sullivan started by giving Helen a doll to hold. Then she took Helen by the hand and traced the letters D-O-L-L on her palm. She did this over and over. After a while, Helen learned to write the letters D-O-L-L on a page. She did not know that she had written a word. She did not even know that words existed, but she felt proud that she could imitate what her teacher was doing. Her teacher, Annie Sullivan, traced more words on Helen's palm. She learned to spell pin, hat, cup, and a few other words. The real breakthrough happened when Annie tried to teach Helen the word water. Sullivan took Helen outside to a well. She placed one of Helen's hands under the spout and spelled Water on her other palm. Suddenly, something seemed to click in Helen's head. She understood that Water meant the wonderful, cool something that was flowing over her hand. There they are. On page 84, you're going to find the answer to question number 5. What was special about Helen Keller's college degree? Remember, you're going to answer this in a complete sentence. Helen soon learned more words. When she was 8, she went to a special school for the blind. Sullivan went with her. Later, she went to a school for the deaf. But she did not stop there. She went on to Radcliffe College, where she became the first deaf and blind person to receive a college degree. Helen learned to speak, and she learned to read lips with her fingers. She learned to read using Braille. She wrote books, including a biography of her own life, The Story of My Life. She was active in politics and fought for women to have the right to vote. Helen Keller lived a long and productive life. She died in 1968 at the age of 87. In 2003, the state of Alabama honored Helen Keller by putting an image of her on their state quarter. The quarter pays tribute to Helen's courage in overcoming her disabilities and inspiring millions of people. And there's a picture of the Alabama state quarter. Okay, boys and girls, make sure all of Activity Book 13.3 is completed and submitted on Schoology.